We're going to continue with the second part of our analysis of the data from the Likert scale and from the project that you're doing. Now, all the questions that you did were based on a hypothesis that you wanted to prove. Now, what we're going to do right now is that I'm going to teach you how correlation works. That way, you can find what a couple of conclusions from the analysis that you're doing. Now, have you ever wondered why teachers say if you study more, then your grades will improve? Well, that way, like through data analysis and correlation, like if it has been proved that when a student studies more, then he will get more grades. Just like in your hypothesis, you have some questions that obviously if they have a correlation. Now, there are three types of correlation. There is a positive correlation, there is a negative correlation, and there is a zero correlation. Now, the positive correlation is when the variable 1 increases and the variable 2 also increases. Now, the negative correlation is when variable 1 decreases and variable 2 also decreases. Now, when you see this, that you have a negative correlation between two variables, you can say that your analysis is that when this variable increases or decreases, then the other one has another behavior. Now, this is really good because that way you can prove that what you're saying is true. That when this happens, then this other thing happens. Or just say that it doesn't work that way, and your hypothesis is it's not right. Now, the zero correlation happens when there is no change. Like, it doesn't decrease or increase. Now, when the first variable increases, there's nothing here. And when the first variable decreases, then nothing happens to the other variable. That way you can say that there is no change in the correlation. Now, this helps us because let's say we have a question. Let's make in question number 1 from the Likert scale. When you walk for more than 5 hours, you need to rest more than 2. Okay? This is like this is a very funny statement, but let's do it this way. Okay? It doesn't matter as long as we try to make a correlation. It doesn't matter if there is or no proof. We're just making a hypothesis. Like when you walk more than 5 hours, you need to rest more than 2. So let's say somebody said 4, like he usually does this. Now, I'm going to relate it with question number 2. I see which ones are more related and can find. Okay, so when you finish eating, you need to sleep. Okay, so now you have 2 things that you are trying, and hopefully in your hypothesis they have some relationship. Now we're going to see if this correlationship is positive or negative, or if nothing happens. Now, if it's positive, the correlation, then I'm saying that when I'm saying that the people always or increase this variable, then it's because the people, when they finish eating, they need to sleep. So they are correlated, like if it's a positive. If it's a negative correlation, there's also a relationship, but it says that when people spend less time, then they need to sleep less. Okay? So that would be a negative correlation. Okay? So always in negative correlation, it happens the opposite. So what I'm saying is when on the first variable there's an increase, then there's a decrease in the second correlation, and vice versa. Okay? So let's see what happens. Now we are going to, I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase this for a second. Now let's find the correlation. And you can write it here. You just write correlation of, I don't know, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to write the correlation here. Correlation of 1 and 2, you can say correlation of 2 and 5. It depends. Like, you tell me what are the questions that are more relevant to the study. Now, I'm going to make the correlation of 1 and 2. It's very simple using Excel because there's a formula that is correlation, and we're going to choose the 2 sets of data. Okay, here we have to choose 2. Now, I'm going to choose the first set of data, okay, here. Then I'm going to pass to the other one, okay? Always look at the format, okay? Sometimes is a period, sometimes is a colon, etc. Okay, now the second part, the second array of data, and that's it. Now, look at the correlation. Correlation 1 and 2, it's a positive correlation, but it's tending not to do very much. So it's 0.0089. So what I'm saying is that there is not very much relationship between these two statements. Actually, there is no correlation and nothing happens. Okay, when one increases, the other one can decrease or increase. It doesn't, there is not like a pattern. So this helps me analyze the information. Now I can do it with 2 or 3 relevant questions, okay? Now from here, you can write your conclusions, okay? Now, something that I'm going to ask you to do for the project is that I want you to graph the median, okay, the mode, the mean of each of our questions, okay? Now, you guys should be able, and this can be like your homework, like how to graph the mean, the median, the mode of each question. And then you should also graph the standard deviation and the variability of all the questions, okay? So you just are going to graph this against the questions, and that is it. So that way I can see in a graph what is the variability of each of the questions, okay? That would be good to see, just the variability. And of course, for the final project, you need to write down at least 10 conclusions about this analysis. Okay, always make reference to the information that you have on your spreadsheet. Okay, so this correlation is very important, and I think this is going to help you guys write many conclusions about the correlations. Okay, so this is the second part about correlations, and this is very important. And good luck, and see you in class.